the day, and I know that a lot of folks are either waking up, a lot of my subscribers are either waking up right now from their evening nap, and or a lot of folks are also getting off of work and maybe listening to this on the way home. But Maggie and I are both on the way home, and yeah, I just wanted to talk a little bit about Finesse. That's the title of our drive stream this afternoon. Just a 10, 15, 20 minute talk, depending on how long it takes for us to get home and such. But I bring this up because it's something that I think I need to apply more so in a lot of things that I do. Like, for one, in drone flying. But it's not something that we would necessarily really think about, finessing something. I think there's a slang term out there when you finesse or trick someone, like it's a slang term used to trick someone into doing something that you want. But that's not what we're talking about. We're actually talking about doing something skillfully, masterfully, without looking like you're putting any effort into doing what you do. And this came about as a result of some flight instructor training that I just went through, that our Chief of Safety and Training at I-Fly Virginia Beach, Ray Kubiak, was performing. And it's funny because he said that he's never really taught it, but it's something that I've always observed in his instructoring, the way he instructs people from first-time flyers to high-level flyers. He's very masterful in all of his movements, literally, and to include in the way he flies as well. It's very skillful, and so he wanted to teach that to us. And while it's not just something that he said that he necessarily teaches, because he's not taught this before, he has more so, if you will, Nick said that he got Finesse over after how many hundreds of first-time flyers that he's flown. I certainly got it as a result, and I'm still working on it. I'm not saying that I'm very good, that I'm that skillful at flying first-time flyers, because there's still a lot to learn, there's lifelong learning. And even those that are masters at the craft, there's still something to learn. And from a standpoint of Ray's perspective, who is an IBA, an International Body Flight Association examiner, he's learning effectively how to teach Finesse, because he's never taught it before. But I think, and this is a discussion for he and I to have from his perspective of teaching it to his students, specifically I-Fly Virginia Beach flight instructors. It comes with experience, comfortability of the flight instructor in the wind, because as a first time, or as a new flight instructor, I remember, as much as I wanted to let go of the dude, my student, right? It wasn't like, all right, start letting go of him. You have to get comfortable. We had to get comfortable doing that initially. As a drone pilot, I wasn't, moving my sticks in the matter to fly my drone in a barrel roll. Even if I'm just flying flat and straight, if I wanted to turn, as opposed to just turning and yawing, the control stick, the left control stick to the left or the right, if you are on mode 2, that is, you don't just bang it over, right? You ease into it, and there are actually settings, rates, that we can adjust to allow us to have that smooth turn, so it doesn't look like a, right? It's a smooth turn, and then the rate of turn at the same time also. And so applying that, and I was thinking about it, hey, that Finesse applies to all things that we do: flight instructing, drone piloting, where when I shoot video, right, and maybe this is a full video on, hey, what is the key to flying, and maybe that's what one of my videos will be next. To get, what is the key? What is the real key to flying cinematic? And the word is finesse. Making it look like you're flying without any effort. Those jagged, right? Even if it's a slight poof, right? it's distracting to the eye. It's not smooth, and that's what we want to get to when we fly our drones. We want, go from straight flight, into this nice smooth curve around. You saw how my hand kind of did that? It's like, So someone just joined us, MP Longamix TV. Thank you very much for joining. I appreciate you hanging out this afternoon. Very quick drive stream. I'm just talking a little bit about Finesse because, we were talking about it this afternoon. What is it? And to me, that's what it is. That that my chief of safety and training was trying to teach us. What he was trying to convey to us to become better flight instructors. And same thing, I remember doing a drill when I was playing baseball. The coach would hit ground balls at us, and we would have to field them barehanded. And you don't just catch the ball, boom, and stop it. You kind of, as it comes in, you time it so that it's caught, right? In your hand, it goes backwards and catch. And then we took it a step further where it wasn't just a catch, right? Where it was a catch like this. You then caught it, right? And then brought it back around. So you're redirecting the energy of the ball so it doesn't hurt. And eventually we can, field where it's boom and right back into a throwing position. So you're circling that ball around, baseball-wise. When I was a boxer, there's a finesse to boxing, that I learned over time just by boxing, for one, getting punched, punching back, right? Where you learn over time through experience by repetitions and becoming a master at the craft of boxing, where I could, take a punch, but roll with that punch, as they say, right? And then redirect that punch right back into my opponent. So there's something there for sure. Proud Mama Elijah, thank you very much. It's hard for me to see the whole thing, but and I don't have my glasses on, and I'm driving, and it's poor weather, so I'm just taking my time, driving safe, of course. I appreciate you hanging out and joining this afternoon on my quick drive stream as I talk a little bit about Finesse. But how can you apply Finesse? I mean, I've got a drone flying channel, right? So Finesse is when I fly straight and then I want to take a picture of the beach or the point of interest and curve into that spot, or just flying a big power loop and then into the next move, right? Where it doesn't look like I'm doing anything. And there are styles of flying that is very jerky, right? With the drone, that still looks smooth. Even though it's jerky, right? But they go from one move to another move to another move very quick in succession. But it's still smooth and not so jerky, right? And, that's the cool thing about what we learn is a flight instructor, what we learn, and let's say we were just talking about drones and how can we apply drone flying finesse to the everyday things that we do. Well, I mentioned boxing, I mentioned baseball, right? But how can you apply, what can you do in your job, in your hobbies, in your personal life that could use a little bit more finesse? And we're talking about doing a task without making it look like any effort is being applied. And so that's the takeaway from this afternoon's drive stream, Finesse. And I hope that you can figure out a way to apply that in your daily lives, because when you can use less energy in doing a task and performing something, guess what? You're onto something there. We are onto something there. We use less energy, we use less assets, if you will, to complete the task. Again, using very little effort. When we drive down the road, smooth is slow, slow is fast, as they say, right? As we say, anyway. So while I'm not quite driving slow, I'm driving the speed limit. But getting there in this smooth manner without having to weave through traffic is going to use a lot less gas and energy, both on the vehicle, but mental energy as well. So I'm being efficient with my physical well-being. Now I'm starting to philosophize over here. Dr. J in the house, right? Dr. J and Dr. Maggie, philosophizers, YouTube philosophizers. But great big thank you to Ray Kubiak, the Chief of Safety and Training of IFLAG Virginia Beach, who made me think about it. And we don't think about it, we just do it. I learned finesse over time as a flight instructor by watching them do it, making them look, I mean, number one rule, gotta look cool, right? And so, you know, watching them do the thing, you know, and the movements. I mean, that's how I look when I'm swimming, you know? And I did not look like that. I did not look like that when I'm swimming, when I first learned how to swim, if you can believe that, you know? Yeah, so I joined the Navy and I did not know how to swim. I had to learn how to swim. And so 4 years of, I'm not gonna say swimming lessons because I didn't have formal swimming lessons, but 4 years at the academy, you know, every day, let's say 3 years of figuring out and learning how to swim. In fact, that's a funny story because I joined the Navy, couldn't swim, I could doggy paddle, but on the very first swim test we did at the academy, I thought I was gonna drown. I basically was doing drown proofing from the one end of the pool to the other end of the pool, back to the beginning, and then on the way back to complete the swim for the test, I did drown proofing where I pushed off the wall, sank to the bottom, pushed off the bottom, breathed, and I basically went down and up and down and up and breathed and down and then pushed up and breathed and the entire way. So effectively, I failed that swim test, that swim qualification at that time. And so I was on sub squat. But then when we had to do an underwater swim test, I could hold my breath. I swam, you know, the entire 25 yards with clothes on underwater. And they're like, so you can swim underwater, but you can't swim on top of the water? Yeah, apparently. So I, over time, learned how to swim better. And swimming with finesse, you know, I look extremely comfortable in the water. And that's part of it also. As one builds that skill, you become more comfortable flying or flying drones, swimming in the water, you know. And there are things in our movements, in our everyday lives. Driving, like I said, once again, finesse can be applied in how we drive and how we move. So think about that. What can you do in your life at work to make it look like you're not putting any effort into it? Masterful skill. Mastered skill. Skillful movements. All right, someone else just joined. Let's see. I can't see who it is. I can't zoom in on the thing. Oh wait, I've got my glasses, which I don't normally wear when I'm driving because they're reading glasses. May Kraus, thanks for joining. Thanks for joining. I have no finesse when I'm YouTubing. It's difficult for me to YouTube and drive because I don't do it enough. And so part of, you know, why I do this is just to get better at it. You know, to get better at speaking and talking with y'all, you know. Another new subscriber. Thanks for joining, Lisa Longa. I can't read it. But I appreciate you hanging out. I got you guys some blue jackets, blue wrenches for you. But yeah, very quick live stream right now, DriveStream, since I'm driving home right now. Appreciate you hanging out and joining and enjoying my mini talk. You know, this is my drive streams are very short because they're typically done when I go. If you're a new subscriber here, you know, a new viewer, I typically do these drive streams when I'm going to work or coming from work, you know, like I am right now. I mean, I started this at 5 o'clock. It's 5:15 now. I'm home, safe and sound, pulling into my driveway here in just a moment, and we'll be ending this drive stream. And so at this point, I'm just going to take a moment to say thank you all for joining. I really appreciate you enjoying my drive stream with me this afternoon. And yeah, take a look at I guess rewatch this if you get a chance to later on, you know, to see what I was talking about with respect to finesse, you know, and such. And I'm happy to hear your comments on how you finesse an activity, a task. You know, it could be doing Excel spreadsheets. There's a finesse to that as well. You know, I would submit that while I can finesse an Excel spreadsheet very well, as funny as that sounds. Yeah, that does sound funny. But it is a task. that can be mastered. And so, on that note, YouTube, thank you so much for hanging out and joining me this afternoon. My cell phone signal goes bad when I pull into the driveway here, so I'm gonna say goodbye now. And no mail as I drive down my long driveway. But thank you all so much. It really means a lot. I appreciate it. And thank you for the thumbs ups and the likes and the comments. And definitely put in the comments something that you finesse or that can finesse on a daily basis as part of your tasks and such. But again, thank you all so much for joining. I'll see you tomorrow morning on my way into work. on my morning drive stream, which for a lot of my subscribers might be in the evenings. So I hope to see you then. Say hello, as always. Goodbye, YouTube. All right, Maggie, ready to go inside? And end.